Good evening, everyone. Comment your thoughts on today's game between St Kilda and Brisbane. I'll be doing a live review of it right now as we speak. Before we do that, I'd like to introduce you to my tutoring school, or our academic tutoring school. Okay, it's an academic tutoring school founded by my wife and I. It's called the Roki School of Excellence, as shown in the logo. So it's basically we teach years 5 to 12 mathematics, all levels except specialist maths, as well as Western drums, South Indian classical drums, and an electronic percussion instrument called the octopad. Classes are taught either individually or in groups. So if you have a child or if you know of any loved ones who might be interested, please do ask them to join and enroll. We'll be more than happy to assist. Okay, enrollments are open throughout the year. My wife looks after the enrolment and admin side of the school, whilst I look after the teaching syllabus and the fee side of the school. Okay, that's the Roki School of Excellence for you. So jump on board, please, if you're interested. Okay, how was that? How was the end result, guys? How was that? What did you all think of it? Really, that was very flattering, wasn't it? To be able to match it with the reigning premiers. Yes, they had some players back, but to be able to match it with them for 3 quarters and a little bit in that last quarter when Mitch Owens kicked the goal, and then to just see it fall away, it's like a building slowly unfolding, building slowly collapsing in the second half of that last quarter. And it just needed Brisbane's dominance of a few good minutes to be able to put the game beyond a doubt. They didn't play their very best today either. It was pretty evident, okay? But they just needed good patches of play to put the game beyond doubt. That's all they needed. That goes to show that, yes, whilst they took more than 3 quarters to shake off St Kilda, how much it also says about St Kilda when you give the opposition team, especially the reigning premiers like Brisbane, it's a little bit of sniff to take the game away from you. Okay? And it was all the key players who stood up, your Levi Ashcrofts, your Dunkleys. They won the ground ball gets, they won the possession count, they won the inside 50 very clearly, they switched on. What St Kilda did in that first quarter and a bit, Brisbane literally returned it. Okay? So, before we I talk about my key points or what my key take-home points of the game are, okay, let us talk about the key stats. Okay, let's break it down, yeah? So here we go. So here we have it, guys. You look at all the stats here, okay? So we can see here, it's pretty obvious that, Brisbane won most of it. And that last quarter really, assisted them. Disposals, it looked very even, and they got on top in the last quarter. Had more kicks than handballs, okay? I think we dominated a lot of the handballs, but, they obviously got on the end of it more towards the last quarter. Although we got the inside 50 counts, I thought it was a pretty good effort, but conversion opportunities were pretty poor. And I felt we overused the ball, especially in the last quarter. We turned it over. Brisbane scored a lot from that, inaccuracy and turnovers from our guys. Free kick count, we won it. Don't complain, guys. That's not the reason. It was that last part of the last quarter why we lost the games. Okay? We did run the hit-outs. Tom DeConing I thought was terrific. Those who want to talk about it, I hope what you talk about it is pretty ignorant-free, because I thought he did some very good stuff in the middle of the ground, trying to give them first use. How good was that first part of the first quarter, where the first bounce of the ball of the game was done? TDK just gives it straight to Flanders, straight to Nassai, Wangley and Malera. Ended up going for a behind though, first 10 seconds of the game. So I thought he was pretty good. And yeah, as you can see, all these other stats, it was dominated by Brisbane in the end. They took a little bit of ascendancy in that last quarter. Okay, so I thought overall it was pretty evenly matched contest, but the last quarter had other ideas. I thought St Kilda went into their shell a little bit. I don't know if they were gassed or not. I doubt it, because Ross Lyon clearly said that they were up for it, so it's not an excuse. I thought there were certain things in their game that costed them, like turning the ball over, letting Brisbane run over and make them look very good. So overall, it wasn't. Look, you can look at it as glass half full, glass half empty. Glass half full would be that okay, they matched it. Just remember, guys, every time Brisbane have played St Kilda in the last few encounters, it's always been blowout margins. This one was neck to neck, literally to the 40% of the last quarter. That's when they started getting ascendancy. When I say ascendancy, it wasn't a thrash. It went to 14 points, to 20, to 25. That's as far as it went, guys. It wasn't that bad. So St Kilda, as Ross said, can fix up a few things in the last quarter, their process. There's no reason why they couldn't win. And the other thing, guys, that made a big difference was for every time, especially in the first 3 quarters, when St Kilda kicked a goal, Brisbane responded. So it was a lot of coast-to-coast play. There was not a time, or there was rarely a time when St Kilda kicked 1 goal, it became a string of consecutive goals to put the game beyond doubt. St Kilda had a lot of chances to put the game beyond doubt. They kicked a bit straighter. See the behinds they kicked the first quarter? 7 behinds over here. Yeah? Then became 9, then became 12, then became 14. But if you look at Brisbane, they were terrible in their kicking too. But can you see how the behinds sort of dropped down a little bit? It went up, but it didn't go up as much as St Kilda. So that really made a big difference. They capitalised in the last quarter. What they couldn't do in the 3 quarters, they did it when it mattered. The game was there to be won. Brisbane took it for the taking. Okay, so take nothing away from them. I thought full credit for them on that one. Okay, so look, nothing to be disheartened. I know there's a lot of people in Twitter and Instagram acting like keyboard warriors, literally bashing up because St Kilda have paid very big money. So their thing was, oh my God, what's the point spending money when it can't buy happiness? Guys, St Kilda's not trying to buy happiness here. They're trying to buy productivity in their results, not happiness. Maybe the happiness is in relationships and other contexts, not in sport. This is a professional environment, sporty, ruthless competition. They're not trying to buy happiness. They're trying to buy money. They're using this to try and strengthen their list a bit more. And keep in mind, guys, before these 4 recruits came, Jack Silvani, Tom DeConing, Sam Flanders and Liam Ryan joined, there was no contest between the two. It was all Brisbane in the last 2 encounters. Literally the game was over by quarter or half time, Brisbane's way. But this time it wasn't that over. Yes, Brisbane don't have a full team. Yes, there's still a few players to come back, but they still had some key players back today. Like your Zach Bailey's and all that. He's a sharpshooter for goal. So it's not that they were fully depleted. I would disagree with that. But they were cleaner with the ball when it mattered. And they just needed few good minutes in the last quarter to take the game away. That's what I told my wife. Yes, overall they took more than 3 quarters to shake St Kilda. But to do that, they needed a few good minutes in that last quarter. Simple as that. Okay, now, my next part is, on that keyboard warrior stuff, people just need to relax. Yes, they spent a lot of money. Yes, they could have been they should be 4-0. Guys, no matter how much you spend on players, players are doing everything they can to fit into the St Kilda system. They're going to be different players to what they were in their previous clubs. They have to adopt to the system. And I thought the 4 recruits were pretty good today. Liam Ryan led from the front with 3 goals. He and Cooper Sharman were the reason that the fans got up and about. Flanders I thought was alright in the midfield. TDK did some good things in the run. Silvani was terrific, won a few holding the balls. Unfortunately, high tackle went against him in that 3rd quarter. God knows with that umpiring. He was pretty good. He helped Wilkie and Dougal Howard. And it was so lovely to see Dougal Howard today. Provide that extra height down back. Okay? But if we can fix those few things in the last quarter, that would be great. Last week we won, even though we saved the game. This week we didn't. You know, I think we only kicked 2 goals in that last quarter. Higgins and Mitch Owens. Brisbane Lions kicked 6. They've kicked the most number of goals in the last quarter than they have in the previous 3 quarters. That was the game right there. Okay, but I thought it wasn't a very disappointing afternoon. Disappointing we didn't win. Of course not. Of course it's disappointing. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. We had every chance to win this game and even bury them earlier. But that's something we have to work on. And I know it's a bit of an art to do that against the reigning premiers. You knew every time Saints scores, the Lions will come. They will come. They're not back-to-back premiers for nothing, guys. They're not back-to-back premiers for nothing. So, I guess, as Ross said, there were some good understandings and learnings from that game. But 33 points, it didn't feel like 33 points in the end, to be honest. It felt much less than that. And now, you would be thinking, oh, full credit because they should have won by more. Well, we could have also won by more. Look at the behinds we kicked, 14 behinds. So, look, so many different angles you can dissect this game from, guys. But I thought, look, effort was there, intent was good, but if they could just fix those few things and fix it soon, that would be great. Unfortunately, they have a bye next week. As Ross said, the bye couldn't come at a better time for the Saints. So great time to re-energise, reset, go away, bond as a group, and review their first few games and come back out onto the other side. Okay, post-bye. Okay, let's talk about some key points of this game. Yeah, I've put my key points I felt. You all might have your own ones. That's fine. The first one. Cannot fault the effort as always. Yep, the boys did not throw the towel in. They kept grinding and grinding and grinding. Yeah, it felt like they took their foot off the gas in the last quarter, but I felt that was more because, skill errors. They allowed Brisbane to come on top. And when you knew they're going to do that, you have to be on top as well. Okay? Number 2, as I said earlier, Sharman and Ryan put on a clinical display that got the fans up and about. It's probably Cooper Sharman's best game so far this year. There's been a lot of talk that he's not rising to the occasion, he's dropping marks, he's doing this. I thought he was great today. It was alright last week, but today he was terrific. Kicked some great goals. Liam Ryan, especially that first goal in the game, and some of the things he did, that solid bump off the Brisbane player, I think Darcy Gardner, did some great things. He has shown us why we need that extra bit of attack in the forward to help Jack Higgins. So I thought they were really, really good. And if it wasn't for their 3 goals, okay, this result could have been worse. Okay, so they really helped us, stay in the game and ensure there was going to be a very competitive result. Okay, number 3, moments and lapses in concentration. This is the big one, guys. Moments and lapses in the game, especially in the last quarter, proved to be the difference. Yeah, it did. We lost it on moments against guys, similar to the Collingwood game. Did a lot right with effort, intensity, but dropping marks, making errors, allowing Brisbane to win the ground ball gets. That is, picking up the ball from the ground with ease and just transition to the 50 with ease, as Ross said. That proved to be the game breaker. Okay, so last week we won. This week we came on the other side with the result. So got to really fix that, guys. Last quarters, I think that's. I will not even worry about our first. They've been great. We've not caught up, as Ross wanted. We didn't play catch-up footy at all. It was coast-to-coast footy today. Scrappy, yes, no denying that, but it was coast-to-coast till the last quarter when Brisbane got the momentum their way. Number 5, it just needed a couple of minutes of dominant footy from the opposition to put the game to bed. Yeah. Yes, it took St Kilda, on a glass half full, you can say it took Brisbane more than 3 quarters to shove St Kilda away. But from a glass half empty, Brisbane had to wait for a few minutes in that last quarter to put the game to bed. For Brisbane, that's glass half full, because they're like, okay, we didn't play all that great today, but we just needed a good small patch of period to take it away from them. They got what they wanted. Okay? Yes, that meant in the last quarter, late, deep into the last quarter, but they got what they wanted. Number 5. This is number 5. Number 6. That was a flattering scoreline. It didn't feel like an 80-113 game. And look, that's not to take anything away from Brisbane. Like I said earlier, they were terrific. They were accurate, they kicked and all. But that didn't deserve to be a 33-point difference in a game. So much St Kilda did to match it with them, it felt less than that. But scoreboard doesn't lie. It is what it is. Jog on, regroup and regather. Number 7, okay. Ross, whoever's seen his press conference, he did not deflect. He did not deflect at all, guys. If you think he did, I kindly advise you to watch his press conference again. One thing he was big on was the team needing to improve crucial elements in the game. Yep, they needing improvement in crucial elements in their process. Yeah, absolutely. There are certain patches in the game that they did a lot right, but they need to tighten it a little bit. Okay, we have to have. He said the boys have to get to work. The bye doesn't come at a better time. It's an opportunity to regroup, refresh, and tighten those areas, tighten the screws a little bit. And do that, and he's very confident, Ross, that this team has what it takes to win more games than it loses. And so do most of the AFL will do. In fact, everybody has said they're going to have to at least make it to the wildcard round or finals. Otherwise, it's a disappointing recruitment system. I still have that faith. Yes, the first few weeks might not show that. But at the end of the day, they've come up against pretty intense oppositions. Collingwood, 2023 premiers. Melbourne, they have a new coach, though it's not expected much of them. New coach, new era, you never know. GWS, they played finals last year, and we knocked them. That was great. Brisbane, reigning premiers. So these are not teams Brisbane are at the bottom now. But quality-wise, these have been powerhouse teams for the last few years. that St Kilda have come up against. And to be honest, if there's a big tick, none of those games are 50-point losses, if you look at it. Yeah, you sort of think we should have won all of them. But again, those teams have taught us that you don't take your opportunities in crucial moments. We're here to show you how to do it, and they did it. So it's just learning some understandings, okay? Mind you, when Chris Fagan was Brisbane's coach, they made a lot of mistakes. It was not a quick fix. I remember in his first 2 years, they were in the bottom 4, bottom 6. At 2019 onwards, in his third or fourth year, they slowly started playing finals. And I think they became a top 14, I don't know, in early 2020s, since COVID. So it took them time. He knew it wasn't going to be a quick fix. He made some bold calls with the list, had to move some players, get some players in. It's all a process, guys. So, and look, Ross has been responsible for good changes in the list. When he came, you guys might have your own views. When Ross came, he always came with a blowtorch to the list. He felt this list needed some renovations. Big renovations. We went to the draft, and this is probably the best drafting Saints have done in a while, since the Grant Thomas days. Getting players like Win Hager, Nasai Wanganeen-Malera, Mitch Owens, Filippo. That's drafting Alex Taru, Darcy Wilson. These sort of players we've been crying for in the past under Alan Richardson's day. We never got players anywhere close to them. You look at the Luke Dunstons, Jack Billings, what did they do? They got moved on. Seb Ross was okay. Seb Ross, Steele and all that, I thought were fantastic. Brad Crouch. They were the key crop of our midfield. They are players who saved our midfield from being beaten as much. But outside of that, the recruiting under Richardson and Rattenbase was not that ideal. We didn't go young enough. We didn't hit the draft as much. We went like what Collingwood did, went for much older players, and half those older players are not on the list today. So we had a chance to go younger. Look at North Melbourne; they went younger. Yeah, it took a few years, but things do come to fruition very soon, guys. Just remember that. The wheel of fortune never stays; it will change. So, yeah, look. I thought effort and intensity cannot be questioned, and I thought if they can tighten a few things, and sooner, the better it is. Okay? 1 and 3, not ideal, but it's better than 0 and 4. So, look, lots of learnings and understandings, and I look forward to seeing how these boys regroup post the bye. They've got 2 trips to South Australia in the gather round to play Port and then Adelaide and Adelaide Oval. So both at Adelaide Oval, big opportunity. St Kilda generally love going away and trying getting a win. That's what I've noticed. But let's see. I look forward to them really regrouping and just, get back to their system of playing consistent 4 quarters footies. Don't save the game. Play with more flair in that last quarter. That will be very different. Or, if they can't play with flair, put the game to bed. They did that beautifully against GWS last week. They put the game to bed early, I think in the second or third quarter. They kicked a lot of consecutive goals. And today they had a chance to do that against reigning premiers. But it was coast to coast. Okay, so they can stop that, arrest that, and kick a few goals together and take control. We'll talk about a different page of the book. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I think that'll be the end of my review. Please comment your thoughts. Please subscribe to this channel. If you know of anyone who might be interested, please circulate this channel to them. Hit the subscribe button. The more subscribers, the better. My next video will be not much. Probably unless there's any exciting content. It will be about the preview of the Port Adelaide game, which will be next week, not this coming week, thanks to the boys having the bye. And yeah, take care of yourselves, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, the last weekend in March, the last daylight savings weekend as well. And yeah, look after yourselves. Stay warm. I know it's going to start cooling up a bit. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now, guys. Take care.